Sonic. This is how you Sonic. Legendary Big East performers Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullen now going head-to-head as head coaches. Let's check out the starting lineups for this matchup. St. John's, Shamori Pons, Justin Simon, Mustafa Heron, L.J. Figueroa, and Marvin Clark II. Georgetown, James Akinjo, Greg Malinowski coming off a superb performance. 26 points in a win over Butler. Jamarco Pick.
Thoughts of years gone by. Let's see if they can keep it going.
How does Govan fit into this matchup with St. John's playing so small?
That's the biggest thing. They've got to go with him. He's got to cause foul problems. I think the big decision here, turnovers. You've got to value the ball. Both teams like to run out, and right now, Ian Eagle, the Birdman. St. John's goes, man.
Georgetown swept the season series from St. John's last year, but St. John's beat the Hoyas in the Big East tournament.
And this is where St. John's has improved immensely on the defensive end. You can see they put a lot of time on it.
There's Pickett, giving it up with 9 to shoot. Tried to dump it down low. Malinowski, the shovel inside. The leaner goes down. Excellent play on the interior. LeBlanc with the finish.
He keeps playing well. They're going to have a pen and pencil set named after him. Good hands.
LeBlanc to Akinjo. Attack mode. Akinjo can't get it to go. LeBlanc gets his hand on it, and it's cleared by St. John's. And the fact that St. John's has done it with this smaller group, it's almost NBA-like the way that they can play.
Well, the big thing is they all can beat you with the dribble, and if you shut them out, they usually kick for a 3.
The knockaway. Govan gets it from Heron. 5 on 4, and they give it right back. Heron's by himself, but St. John's didn't see him. Cherry picking.
All can make this shot.
Clark misses from long range.
He has been on fire, too. Drilling it over 60% from deep.
2-0 lead for Georgetown. Akinjo and Malinowski. That's a 3. Way off. Long rebound. Tracked down by Simon. The push ahead. Long strides to the rim. Count it. And a foul.
How about that aggressive play? You turn it over, you're going to pay either team. But St. John's, great hands. They slap balls aside, but know how to finish, and they are aggressive in the open floor. And for me, I really enjoy the way Simon plays. He's good with the bounce. He can post up. It gives him a little size in that low post area. He's got a middle game, but he's great without the basketball as well.
The transfer from Arizona, you're going to hear that quite a bit. The transfer game has worked for St. John's. Foul was called on Malinowski.
Effectively, I would say.
Tied at 2. Georgetown up the floor in a hurry. Akinjo challenging. Out of bounds. Georgetown will retain it.
I think both teams are really aggressive early, not really concentrating and finishing shots. Getting opportunities. Thus the importance of the game, too, I think, on some of these young people.
St. John's beat up on Marquette on Tuesday night. What an impressive win. 89-69. The Red Storm are on the verge of cracking the top 25 with a victory here today over Georgetown.
Well, the only bad thing people said was the schedule. That sort of impacted on where they're ranked. But this is a terrific basketball. That's what they got to do. Send it in, big fella.
Govan with a big finish. Georgetown with a 4-2 lead.
You watch St. John's, you always feel you can play the game the way they're nice help again. That Govan got a piece.
Get it ahead. Akinjo. Pickett steps into it. Misses on a rainbow 3. He's been struggling from the outside.
What did Pat say? Nice turnover, but nice look. Patrick saying he's got to shoot the ball for them. But the ability inside, watch this little angle, the correct pass, the great entry. And that's what they're going to do more of. Soften it up. Take advantage of the size.
You might be asking, why the pink shoes? Well, it's Men Against Breast Cancer, first and only national nonprofit to help men be there for the women they love when breast cancer strikes. So Georgetown going with the fashion statement today, and it stands out.
It does. Very impressive. Of course, Clark with the giveaway.
It'll be Clark picking up the personal. And Keita will check in. C.D. Keita, transfer from South Carolina, gives them a big body and someone they can match up with the likes of Govan. Clark sits at 6'7", 225. Govan is 6'10", 255.
There's Keita, a guy that 9 minutes, had the difficulty with the knee operation. So they're trying to get more minutes out of him.
And another knockaway, tough around the rim. Well, for St. John's, Marvin Clark came from Michigan State. L.J. Figueroa, junior college transfer. Heron from Auburn. We mentioned Cada, Simon, Arizona. And you have a couple still waiting in the wings that will be eligible next year.
Louis kind of said, now look, this is what he's good at. And they don't want, I would suggest he get inside. Do the damage there against this smaller team. Lou Conaseca's 94th birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
And Louis used to bring transfer. And they'd say, Louis, how's it going to look next year? He said, I got a kid in the refrigerator. I set him for the ineligible year. Nice slip.
The roll to the rim, and Cada is fouled.
And it shows you what Simon can do. They all make plays. That's what makes St. John's so difficult.
Foul called on LeBlanc for Georgetown. So it's C.D. Cada, the sophomore from Philadelphia, who was part of that Final Four team, the Gamecocks, advancing a couple of years ago under Frank Martin. Hey, do you miss when sports networks covered news and highlights without the hot takes? Stream CBS Sports HQ, the free 24/7 sports network for highlights, analysis, and fantasy advice. Download the CBS Sports app to watch CBS Sports HQ today.
What Keita does is give him a different kind of a look, Bird. You mentioned the size. He blocked 2 in the 9 minutes against Marquette, so he provides somebody protecting at the 10.
Best start for St. John since the 85-86 season when they were 13-1. Malinowski lost it on the spin. He was hit on the wrist.
Figueroa, I think, with the grab if they get him.
So it's going to send the senior to the free throw line.
Well, when you shoot like this, kid, you've got to develop some dribble moves. A little drop step here and just that little reach in.
They're going to give it to Heron, the second
top.
man through. Malinowski, transfer from William and Mary, played 3 years there, then sat out last season. Again, Georgetown playing without Mac McClung and Trey Morning.
McClung is a tough kid. And with 38 points, the ability to shoot the ball and drive it. Struggled a little early with his three-point shot. I would want to fight that guy. We might be a little bit of you.
What, was there a question that you might fight him?
No, I don't. Listen,
you're a lover, not a fighter.
Thank you.
McClung, his high school highlights, they went viral. High flyer. Heron a three. Long rebound tracked down by Simon. Pons lets it fly.
And those are the ones you got to come up with if you're Georgetown.
And St. John's will settle down here with Trimble in the game. Mikey Dixon has announced that he will transfer, so St. John's bench is even thinner. Pons, high archer.
Pons isn't worried about the thin bench. They log a lot of minutes. Most of the starters in the 30s.
And we're tied at 5. Working through the post. Govan, the drop step, the fade. Try to muscle it home. Rebound controlled by Pons.
He'll freeze and drill it if you don't play him.
Picked up by Akinjo. Great matchup here. Fade away. Pons! Splash from the outside.
You've got to contain your own guy when you play St. John's. Individual, they can all beat you with the bounce.
Georgetown is now 2 of 9 from the field. They trail by 2. Pull-up jump. Pickett. Bottom.
That's the middle game. Get the middle game going.
Long and lean. Washington, D.C. native.
Build your confidence on that offensive end.
Was named to the Big East all-freshman team last year. Simon, hard drive, flips it up, missed it high off the window. Akinjo handles for Georgetown.
Big thing for Georgetown is rebounding on the offensive end.
Nice look.
Oh, what a nice slip.
LeBlanc with the lay-in.
Josh slipping from Baton Rouge.
That Louisiana connection is working for Georgetown right now. The way LeBlanc has performed.
Darrell Owens, one of the assistant coaches there, played at Georgetown. A little giveaway there, so tempting. Don't reach in when you got a perfect trap, but the understanding, Bird, of when to dive. And kids do this so well.
Continue to bring in talent from all over the place.
It's nice Cajun cuisine there. I know you like your cheeseburgers.
What do? You eat that? You don't like spicy.
I stay up late.
2-point lead for Georgetown. Williams will come off the bench for St. John's. After the launch following the timeout, LeBlanc flies in for the rebound. And Pickett loses the ball out of bounds.
And that's that pressure. They are relentless. Chris Mullen. Now, not that Chris wasn't known for his defense. We knew he could stroke the ball, but this is where I think they've really grown as a team. They don't give up on plays. And Figueroa, one of those surprise kids, I think, to everybody, including Chris, right? What did he say? He didn't think he could shoot it as well as he has.
He said he has been better sooner than he expected. He knew Figueroa would play a lot. Swing it. Clark is in.
Nice gamble steal.
Malinowski couldn't come away with it. Trimble trying to keep it alive. Georgetown has it.
Well, you love that hustle. Both clubs.
Neither team has made a three. St. John's is 0 of 4. Georgetown is 0 of 3.
Got to take it going. He's got to find or make. He does make that jump hook.
Off the rim, Govan.
And that's that first double he's had.
Figueroa can't get it to drop.
Boy, 1 against 4. There are some obstacles out there.
Malinowski.
Well, he gets his feet set, doesn't he? Those shooters.
Kinjo lines it up. Book it for 3.
From Oakland. Well, that sets his game up now. We know he can put it on the deck. He showed that on the open.
So, first 3 of the day. Georgetown now extends the lead, 12-7. Shamori Pons is averaging just over 19.6 assists per game, and a foul called on the outside as he made his move on Kinjo.
Nichols, Dimer out that far. You don't want to get the cheapies, but this is just a good understanding here. Staying at home and the ability to break people down. And the fear is, you know, number 3 can blow by you. A beautiful looking stroke. And what did Patrick say? A little bit stubborn.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Yeah.
He believes that both Kinjo and McClung, the freshmen, they think they can leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Well, my wife thinks I'm stubborn. Is that in a good way? Or?
No, definitely not. 7-0 run for Georgetown. St. John's with a brick. Kinjo working the outside. This is a St. John's team that averages 83.9 points per game. Big time block. Simon, defensive presence.
Well, you got to get shots and make them makeable shots. A little dribble drive when you are struggling, not a bad idea. And he's just trying to get on the board. We saw that mid-range jumper by Jamarco, but excellent play. And wow, he looked like he was in, didn't he?
He did.
That's been a problem for St. John's. That kind of sideline, end line.
Look out! Govan hard to the hole for Georgetown.
Jesse with a little chesty move.
And the Hoyas on a 9-0 run. Georgetown has won 4 in a row after losses to Syracuse and SMU. A near turnover. Williams is in. Williams, nice move to the hoop for Greg Williams Jr.
Malinowski with nice hand saved that corner 3 with that deflection, but what a counter.
St. John's had gone 3 minutes without scoring. Malinowski feed the post again. Govan. Kareem Abdul-Govan.
Playing small, St. John's. And Patrick, what will you do? If Govan doesn't dominate, will you take him out? No. I don't take the center out. My best player.
Pons, the post up. Offensive foul. The hook.
This is the type of urgency they would love to see Govan play with. A really good, strong move. Look at this counter. Bang! Bringing it all. And one of Louis' comments, leave the chandeliers. And as you mentioned, the Jabbar-like delivery, feathery touch on a lefty.
Chris Mullen, when we asked him about Govan, he said, look, the jump hook, you can't stop. We could have a 7-footer. You're not going to stop it. On a kick, in and out, Govan. Tracked down by Malinowski, extended possession. Jagan Mosley in for Georgetown. Govan is fouled. So they're working everything through Jesse Govan.
And anytime you can break him down, it's going to find people. He is on fire now, Jesse. Solid play. Who are talented, and you know, a guy like Patrick, I think the same things are going to happen with him as the year progresses.
He's got a 7'3" wingspan, and that lineage. Govan toyed with the idea of going to the NBA last year, cleared for the draft, never hired an agent, so has come back for his senior season and has shown off more of the perimeter skills, which we know that's what translates into the NBA these days.
You did say that wingspan with envy, I noticed.
But you heard it with envy.
They don't need that now here. We know you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got to win the games here. That's why there's a little three-quarter court pressure. Big thing with St. John's, they're struggling from 3. You don't shoot as well on the road. You got to drive it a little bit and get open step-in looks.
Caleb Johnson is in for Georgetown, now leading at 17-9. St. John's has made 4 field goals. They've turned it over 5 times. Simon, the pull-up. Yes.
That's a good open look. Kick, Simon, little breakdown, mid-range jumper.
17-11, Hoyas.
Take advantage of the big. Is that America's play screen to screener? They know this kid can shoot it.
Mosley feeds it down low. Johnson gets a touch.
Good around the rim. Very good. A good offensive rebounder. That southpaw delivery. He's been a good post-up guy since he came here.
The lefty swingman from South Hill, Virginia. 8-point lead for Georgetown.
Key to see if he can do some damage inside.
Points in the paint in favor of Georgetown so far. 12-6. Keita on a kick. Repost. Keita turns. Flings it up. Rebounded by Govan.
See, the thing with Keita, you don't have to double him, so everybody stays at home. Hugs the shooters.
The ball movement for Georgetown has been the best in the Big East this season.
Turnover here.
And that one gets away. Malinowski was looking for a bailout with Govan.
He was hung out there with excellent defense, but this is just excellent offensive ability. The gamble, a little bit of a sellout, costs him. And you know he's going to, I don't think he has the counter, but a nice little left hook. But you can't over gamble and open up that guy to the 10.
Georgetown leads the Big East in assists per game, 17 per game. They've got 8 so far today. St. John's has 1 assist. And Pons will get a breather for Chris Mullen's squad.
And they get 16 a game, so they got to get a little post up. They like to do this with Pons.
Simon missed it.
Excuse me.
And it's rebounded by LeBlanc. Trying to bring this lead to double figures.
That's what makes Simon so tough. There's so many spots on the floor he can do damage.
Javon Blair is in for Georgetown. So they're going smaller with this 3-guard look.
And he can shoot it too.
Mosley loops it for Blair, lets it fly for 3.
And he keeps that going. One of those guys that can light it up quickly for your team. 38% from 3. That'll get you home.
Underrated player coming out of high school. He has been very effective for his 2 years at Georgetown. The miss by Heron.
And that's a good, clean look. Georgetown dodged one.
St. John's 0 of 6 from 3-point territory.
Kinjo's going to break some ankles this year, don't you think?
He is aggressive.
Well, he's got his guy now. This is... Oh.
Blair pulls the trigger. Rims out on a 3-ball.
You can see the crowd knows.
Get into it quickly here, and a foul given down low as Keita was setting up on the interior.
And giveaway by Mosley. He's a tough kid, pretty good picking up charges as well.
First foul on Mosley. Pons back in. Clark joins him. And Keita will sit along with Simon for St. John's.
Pretty exciting for the Big East when you think of these two programs, lighten it up a little bit. They have not done well the last few years.
It's been a while since St. John's and Georgetown have played in a truly meaningful game. The miss, but a foul called on the rebound action.
Nobody heard the whistle, but I did hear a peep, didn't you?
Yes. It's against Caleb Johnson. And that's 16 fouls now on Georgetown.
And once again, if you can get to the rim, good things generally happen to you. Ineffective finish there, maybe an anticipated foul.
Pons is 2 out of 5. Well, the jumper goes on cue. Shamori Pons from downtown.
Doesn't bother. That's why he's such a tough out. You got to hug him, and then he can be delightful with the bounce.
First 3 of the day for St. John's. Pons shooting it at 38% from long range. 22-14 Georgetown. Pickett gives it up. Step in front. Heron nearly came away with a steal. Pickett, high arcer. Wow, big time board from Clark, but a foul is called.
Boy, Clark did get up, didn't he? Goodness, but Pons, one of those guys, so many spots on the floor, gets them set. You got to get right up on him and look to contain on your own. And that's the big thing with St. John's, the pressure of dribble. If you just don't keep your guy in front, and they can find people and deliver.
Second foul on Heron, so Justin Simon, after a short rest, will check back in. 8:52 mark of this first half. 22-14 Georgetown.
Of our old friends, Gary St. Jean, that was his son on the sideline there. Greg?
A part of the assistant coaching staff, including Mitch Richmond, the Hall of Famer. Tip-in goes. LeBlanc got in there for the Hoyas.
Talking to John Thompson Jr., he was telling me this is a kid he thinks is going to be a star in this program.
10-point lead for Georgetown. Clark a three. Rims in from long range.
Now all of a sudden you got to play them deep, and that should open up a little dribble drive.
24-17 Hoyas.
He's post up again.
LeBlanc against Williams. The back in and kick. Blair hit, and a chance at a 4-point play as Blair knocks it down.
Boy, what pressure he can put on you if he makes those shots. Opens up passing lanes, close out, you're not under control. And coaches drill this. Skip out, but don't follow through. And if you're going to follow through, be on the side. Make sure you don't hit the guy.
Second foul on Marvin Clark. And Clark will sit at the 8:09 mark.
Oh, that changes the look. Trimble on the floor, really known for a three-point shot. I think he's taken 1 2-point shot all year. He's got to light it up a little bit for them.
Rebounding is a challenge for this St. John's group, and they're down 17-10 in that category. They go with a smaller lineup. Chris Mullen said, hey, the more possessions, the better for us. He feels like they've been much improved defensively against the three in recent games.
They run them off the three-point line.
Figueroa slipped away. Foul is called. Free throws coming up for St. John's. They trail Georgetown 28-17. This heated rivalry renewed in D.C.
He's a great post player. You know, we started the game pretty good defensively. We didn't capitalize. So we got to get back to playing good D and then taking care of the ball on the other end.
Chris, how about the other end? You're struggling a little bit on the offensive end. Anything you told the guys in the timeout?
Yeah, just let the game come to them, Bill. You know, I think we're trying to hit home runs. We got to single them to death and let the ball create energy on the offensive end and share it and take care of it.
You know, the three which you embrace, you think Louis would have loved the three-point shot other than you, of course?
No, he probably would have let me take 1 or 2 a game. But Bill, hey, I did speak to him. Happy birthday to Coach Carnesecca, the most important part of the day. We're trying to give him a win for his birthday today.
And a perfect way to end the interview, Chris. Thank you so much.
Chris.
Thanks, guys.
94 years young today, Lou Carnesecca. Is he wearing the sweater, Bill? That's the question.
Chris, we're glad he's got shoes on. When we interviewed him,
Yeah, we
he was
did.
barefoot.
They did. Nature boy.
The California look.
The try by Mosley, the giveaway, break opportunity. Figueroa all the way for the throwdown.
And yesterday we heard Patrick at practice lamenting the fact that they turned the basketball over against St. John.
Figueroa, the uncontested jam. It's 28-20 Georgetown. Hoyas take a timeout.
And they're prone, Georgetown, that is, to turning the ball over. And once they start valuing it in a better fashion, this is going to be a terrific team.
14.7 turnovers per game. Compare that to St. John's, just under 11.
But they've had games with 21-22 as well, Georgetown. And that'll get you to the broadcast booth.
You're speaking from experience? Pickett got denied by the rim and then couldn't finish it.
Oh, nice job by Trimble.
Simon, contact, no call, spins. That ball was tipped on the way up. Simon, somehow the smallest man there, comes away with it. Pons, it's a three.
So dangerous, offensive rebound and kick out. What range the lefty has.
Shamori Pons under control as the ball bounced to the outside. St. John's,
look at the mismatch inside,
has made its last 3 threes, and Pickett delivers with a corner pop. It's a tray. 31-23 Georgetown.
St. John's hasn't run their high post stuff yet. There's a back screen, ball screen, slip.
Slip to the rim.
Pretty.
The finish by Keita.
A nice little look by Pons, acting like a point guard on that particular trip. Beats in a lot of ways.
First field goal of the day for C.D. Keita. Govan, they fake on a double.
It came small, a tough shot. Reminiscent of Derrickson with the off leg.
A little bit.
But Patrick chastised him.
Shake and bake. Simon, spin. Teardrop doesn't go. The reach of Pickett with the board.
Well, he is long, isn't he?
Jamarco Pickett, only a sophomore, grew up a big Paul George fan, prides himself on his versatility. Govan, again, it's Keita on an island. Govan off balance, count it.
He's got that shot, though. Just stay inside. Decimate the interior D.
9 points for the Queens, New York native. 33-25, Georgetown now 16 points in the paint. Pons, it's good, a 3.
He can own you. This kid, what did Chris say? The last 10 minutes of the Seton Hall game, he wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Didn't have the speed. I'll tell you what, he looks fresh right now.
That was an excruciating loss to Seton Hall.
Devastating.
But for them to bounce back the way that they did against a 16th ranked Marquette squad shows you a lot about this team.
Tells you a lot about the coaches and the team. You're right.
Step back, Figueroa, no. Figueroa following his own miss, but it's out of bounds.
You knew Patrick wanted to go inside on the one end. St. John's likes to create it off the dribble. They got the big guy, a little kiss maneuver, and here is the big pond. My God, this kid can stroke it, plays with a lot of confidence.
St. John's, 4 players averaging at least 13 points per game. One of 4 teams in the country. Virginia Tech, the Citadel, and Hartford. LeBlanc back in. So is Akinjo. Fights through it, tries to feed it to LeBlanc, and a foul called after the steal. St. John's will take over. Tuesday on CBS, the new year takes the team on their biggest manhunt yet. Don't miss the hit drama, FBI. All new Tuesday after NCIS on CBS.
They have a swarming type defense, St. John's. The ability to slap balls, create offense out of that end. Takes the pressure off their half-court look.
Second foul on Josh LeBlanc. And it sends young Brian Trimble to the free throw line. He has not attempted a free throw this season. Sophomore from Kansas City. Let's check in with John Rothstein.
Well, guys, Brian Trimble at the foul line right now, a completely different player from last season in terms of conditioning, and his minutes and responsibility will go up with the departure of Mikey Dixon. Remember, late in that Seton Hall game, he was charged with the responsibility of guarding Miles Powell, another guy to watch in reserve, Ian.
And Johnny's got a background with Marvin Clark, grew up together, Clark a little bit older. Originally committed to Florida State, but ended up at St. John's, and a bit of a hybrid. Can handle the ball when necessary as well.
Coming into the game, 31 of 32 were 3 of his attempts raised, so he'll learn. You got a dribble drive in occasion.
St. John's has cut it to 3. Govan's pass intercepted by Figueroa, and what a save.
This is where at their best.
Oh, look out! Heron flying through the air for the jam.
Did you say they play small?
They play big around the rim.
Well, they sure do. What a great feel. Vision by Potts.
Akinjo is fouled. He was hit hard on his way to the rim.
We talked about envy earlier. Both of us are envious of this. The ability to bang that floor, get up big time. Yeah. Swarm defensively. Great hands, play gaps, run through the passing lanes beautifully.
What does Georgetown need to get back to? They had double-digit lead in this one.
I got to go inside. Chris Govan's still on the floor. They've got size and length. I think you got to take advantage of it.
The Akinjo free throw ends a 7-0 run. Akinjo shoots it at 80%. Really talented freshman, originally committed to UConn.
Big thing with Georgetown too is cross screening, down screening, just to loosen up this defense of St. John's as well. 5
points for James Akinjo. It's 35-32 Georgetown. Under 4 minutes to go, first half.
Oh, they really drag Govan. You know, they don't make the shot, but that's where they move him around. Got a great look.
The miss by Heron. Akinjo finds an opening. Foul called.
Akinjo really aggressive, but I just love the idea. And the real concern playing this club is as you go out here with the big guy, he just can't cover all of that. And they get an open look, don't convert, but you'll probably see a lot more of that.
Greg Williams picks up his first. Tomorrow, On CBS, the mystery keeps growing. New year, new friend suggestions, and new clues. Don't miss God Friended Me. That's tomorrow after 60 Minutes, only CBS.
Love this kid's toughness.
Well, you see the leadership abilities from Akinjo. He's got a terrific left hand as well, so he can attack you from either side. And now a 5-point lead for Georgetown.
A little overload left by St. John's. A run out ball screen.
First 10 minutes of the game, St. John's had 1 assist. Since then, 7. I love it. High riser, Williams.
That is a great execution because on the roll, the corner defender has to come over and help. It opens up that opportunity on his close.
The flush by Greg Williams, Jr. Govan against Keita. Kick. Malinowski, extra feed. Pickett, way off on a rainbow 3.
Where they set you back, collapse your D, and not afraid to drill that one.
Georgetown now 4 of 13 from long range. 37-34 Hoyas. We're down to 2:40 to play first half. Trimble gets it back for Pons. Pons, the dribble drive.
Look at this.
The kick to Williams, too strong on a 3.
Boy, put it right on a plate.
Last touch by Govan.
Boy, great job on this offensive sequence. And Patrick not happy with that call.
Javon Blair checks back in for Georgetown, and Pickett will sit.
That's one of those you go to the monitor the last 2 minutes on.
2:28 on the clock.
Up to half of the game, I mean.
Get it to the outside. Here's Pons. Jab step. Behind the back. Trimble a 3. Bottom.
That's his game. And they don't come play Keita so he can make a passing decision.
Brian Trimble Jr. has tied this game at 37. Georgetown's largest lead was 11. The last St. John's lead was 7-5. Malinowski blocked on the outside by Figueroa.
Nice
Dribble.
extra look.
Figueroa, the drive to the bucket off the window.
How about the English spin on the kiss?
L.J. Figueroa out of Lawrence, Massachusetts. He puts St. John's in front, 39-37.
Bird all off the defense, too.
Akinjo, the penetration.
They got to jump ball.
It's a tie-up.
Possession
arrow to St. John's.
They are sticky defensively. And just getting the piece coming out big. Figueroa, and just he knows his teammate's going to get the ball. He can take off, and then the strength. How about that little smooch? Big time delivery.
St. John's 0 of 6 to open the game from 3-point territory. They've made 5 of their last 8. And now Georgetown has gone into a scoring slump. Pons, the no-look feed. Figueroa.
They are riding that ball screen and helping the baseline.
Oh, Pons doesn't need much room as he drills the triple.
Incredible.
You've heard the Nick Van Exel comparison.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
I think he may have more range even, though.
Yep. 42-37, 10-0 run. Georgetown.
Well, they close.
Govan, one and done.
Ooh, Figueroa, big time rebound.
No field goals over the last 4 minutes for the Hoyas.
Boy, there's a toughness. Look at this kid. See, now he goes to the well a little too much, Bird.
Comes up short.
A little 2 for 1, though, maybe, but I was thinking.
Yeah, Govan's thinking it, too. Short on a 3-ball. Rebound. St. John's has got it, and a travel is called.
Well, anytime you take it and fall to the floor, it's a crazy kind of a rule, but it is.
Keita hit the deck, and Georgetown will have it. Coming up, AT&T at the half. It's Adam Zucker and Seth Davis. I'll get you caught up on all the action going on today in college basketball. That's coming up. AT&T at the half. 34.7 on the clock. New shot clock here for Georgetown. Greg Williams back in. He'll replace Pons.
Are you impressed with the defense of St. John's?
Very much so.
They can play bigger people effectively because you don't turn the corner on them. Basically, they're always in the right spot in the gaps.
And their switching abilities, because of their size and the versatility, it's effective.
And also stealing the clock with the 2 fouls on 2 of their starters.
Akinjo one-on-one with Simon.
St. John's will get a chance. You go early.
Akinjo takes a look over at Patrick Ewing.
Pick and pop three or a post up.
Akinjo, small against big. Akinjo, ball
Nice.
handling. Oh, what a dish! Govan, the finish. Beautiful setup by James Akinjo. 2 seconds, 1 second. Figueroa misses it at the horn.
They can come at you. We talked about a guy that might break some ankles this year. A little dance, a little slip. Govan, Jesse.
3-point line. And defensively, which we saw play out in the first half, they play the passing lanes well, so they get a bunch of steals. They use their versatility to their advantage.
And of course, the value of the basketball essential. On this end of the floor, you don't want to feed this hungry defensive team.
Georgetown, for their next 5 games, are here at home. Akinjo contested 3, no. Govan works hard for the rebound. Short on the baby hook. Comes away with it again and keeps on firing. Side rim.
That's all right, though. Keep going. And Jesse's got to run the floor a little bit better, though. Getting back on defense. This transition, particularly with the matchup he's going to have, it's essential.
Clark.
He's got to guard the guy.
Rims out on a 3. Govan extended, but Clark got a clean look.
Use him again.
Malinowski was so big in that victory over Butler the other night. Again, no McClung, no Trey Morning for Georgetown. Malinowski flips it to Pickett. Pickett sticks it.
He's pretty move, little slide by kiss.
7 points for Jamarco Pickett. He's got nice touch around the rim. Despite the struggles on offense, they believe he has a high ceiling. Pons one-on-one with Akinjo. Pons is fouled.
Pretty good defense by Pickett, too, in the end. You don't want to foul when you got the big guy looming, but as you mentioned, his ability to get to the rim, as he starts to make that shot, he's going to be more effective off the bounce.
Second foul on James Akinjo. 42-41, St. John's.
Bird, when Georgetown gets the ball, they'll finish in a minute.
Herron on a rack attack.
How about that? Of course, sat most of that half and lights it up deep. Explosive going to the rim. He is athletic.
He has had 2 big finishes and a steal by Clark stepping in front of Govan.
Not a good entry. You've got to bring the ball all the way down. He's got to do a better job holding off. Govan, that is.
St. John's will spread it. Figueroa, the penetration. Clear it for Pons. Just about 2 minutes gone by in this second half. Pons, the blow by.
Nice help.
Partially blocked. It's Pickett.
Well, he has been a presence. That would have been his second block that end.
Ball fake, Pickett. Malinowski steps into it. The 3 gets the bounce, put it on the board.
Well, he does have a great looking stroke. I know he got a favorable bounce, but all starts with defense for both clubs.
Malinowski spaces the floor for this Georgetown squad. And we are tied at 44.
You see, Clark does a lot of screening so they can empty things like this to happen.
The entry to Pons set up by Simon.
Pretty good execution by Chris.
18 for Shamori Pons. LeBlanc gets a touch out front. Work it to the inside. Govan trying to create space.
Somebody's got to dive to the rim when he bounces it.
Malinowski, a 3.
He poison. He just poses after that shot just to make sure it goes down.
Shot 40% from 3-point territory as a junior at William & Mary. He's shooting 50% as a senior for Georgetown.
Don't ask Butler. Tough shot here.
Herron way off.
Pickett's got a nice handle. Govan.
They're going to rod Malinowski here?
They've got to learn how to get him the ball down. Look at Govan. I mean, he's got to hold up. He got to kick the ball side to side to get it into him.
Malinowski too strong on a 3-ball. Govan was guarded by the 6'1" Shamori Pons in the paint. They couldn't get it to him. Figueroa puts it on the deck. He is fouled by Pickett.
The ability to put it on the bounce. Oh, my goodness. St. John's so good at it. But this kid, they closed out on him well early. A beautiful form on that stroke and great balance when that opens up for Govan.
He only had 1 point in the first half, Raph. He's made 2 threes here in the second.
I would put him on the same side as Govan because now you got to play him. It opens up a passing lane.
Pons using the screen. Oh! Oh, the explosion, but he got denied by the rim.
Oh, nice steal.
The steal by Figueroa, and he will take it in for the two-handed stuff.
Unbelievable reaction by Figueroa. Thought he should have given it to Pons, though. But he wanted a little electricity in his game.
48-47, St. John's. Figueroa has been a major factor for the Red Storm.
Now you got to work to get it to Govan. Get an angle.
Kinjo. And Pickett is fouled on the outside.
Figueroa, little nickel dimer.
And Figueroa and Pickett came together for a moment.
We talked about the defense of St. John's, but lately, how about this? Pretty good together. Spent a lot of moments. I first saw him in high school at the Eskid tournament up in Rhode Island. And you knew he was going to be good. And, of course, his coaching speaks for itself.
St. John's with a 48-47 lead on Georgetown out of the timeout. Hoyas control it with a Kinjo.
They try the ISO on the left here for Kinjo.
The back in. The kick. Malinowski now will reset it with 7.
He's going to have to use the dribble a lot because they know he can shoot it.
Malinowski, the flip, and a foul called as bodies fly. Malinowski splitting defenders.
Well, he's hurt there a little bit, too.
Well, the struggles for St. John's here at Georgetown. Hoyas 13-0 the last 13 meetings in D.C. The margin of victory is over 15 per game. And St. John's has not shot it well. The names change, the cast of characters change. The results have been the same. Check in with John Rothstein.
Well, guys, Greg Malinowski, no stranger to the D.C. area, even though he's a grad transfer from William & Mary. He played for the prestigious Team Takeover AAU program. The Hoyas staff this week raved to me about how he's changed his body. You see life hitting him back with the results, Zion.
And probably, John, the reason why he was at William & Mary for the first 3 years, just needed to develop physically, now can play at this level Big East in his final season of college basketball. Pons, that's tough.
See, that's a forced shot. He gets the foul, though. They do like to slip him to the post, he and Simon as well. Kid's tough on all spots on the floor.
And that's the 3rd foul on Akinjo. Patrick Ewing and Akinjo having a conversation. He'll keep him in the game.
You know, early in the year, I spoke to Chris, and he was telling the story. He came down here to play. I think it was as a freshman. And they got bopped severely. Halftime, the game was over. And he said they went into the locker room, and he didn't know what to expect from Louis. They had been, you know, playing so well. And Louis said, look, we just made a mess out there in D.C. Let's go out, clean it up, and get home and get back to business.
Is that an exact quote, you think?
No, I like cleaned it up. You know. Louis would be proud of us cleaning it up, I'm sure.
Shamori Pons at the free throw line. He shoots it at 83%. Rebounded by Malinowski. And now Akinjo will sit. Ewing not going to take any chances here early portion of the second half.
Well, you got your guy in the low box. Beating the post, it's an art. Sometimes lost.
Malinowski. There you go. They dump it into LeBlanc.
Nice drop.
Left hand no. Govan no. LeBlanc gets the putback.
They got to play ping pong. They got to have some power at that rim.
8 points for Josh LeBlanc, the freshman from Baton Rouge.
Here's the Horns look. They like to rub or post up.
Simon feed the post. Heron ball fake. He got 2 men in the air, and he draws the foul.
A nice little call there to get it inside, but that other end of the floor could be a problem. Nice little entry. And, of course, now, a good job by Govan getting himself body-wise, pushing a red shirt underneath, and then the finish. LeBlanc for the money.
Foul called on Pickett, 4th team foul. Heron, the transfer from Auburn, shooting it at 76%. Well, sometimes the past has a way of moving in with you. Don't miss the new comedy, Fam, series premiere Thursday, 9:30, 8:30 Central, only CBS. St. John's at the free throw line as a team, 5 of 10. They shot at 18 of 24 in the 20-point win over Marquette. The 20-point win was the largest against the top 25 team for St. John's since 1999 when they beat Indiana in the NCAA tournament 86-61.
Well, the 2 things that have shocked me was the Marquette win by the number. Nice. That's what you got to do. Dive when they double.
And LeBlanc is hacked. 2 free throws here for Josh LeBlanc.
You got to make a team pay for that. And it's just good position. Give away at the foul line. Get some easy opportunities that'll soften it up.
Second personal on L.J. Figueroa. So a pair here for LeBlanc. Energy guy, hustles. He's been a blue guy for Georgetown. Let's check in with John.
Well, guys, every program talks about the word culture when they're trying to build things from the ground up. That is what Georgetown is getting out of Josh LeBlanc. Patrick Ewing told me he loved the fact in recruiting this kid that he was an everyday guy. And that's what we're seeing so far in the Big East and beyond.
And nearly a double-double here today. 10 points, 8 rebounds, John, for Josh LeBlanc.
You know what impressed both of us? They had the principal, the teacher, and an assistant coach here yesterday as they're off school to come up and watch him. It was all about the education. I thought he could get at Georgetown.
The drive. Oh, what a delivery by Clark.
Special.
Dipsy-do.
Wow. Well, he has become a triple threat for this team.
The transfer from Michigan State providing experience and leadership for St. John's. We're tied at 52.
They got the automatic switch now.
Govan, big against small.
Left hand. Real simple. Empty side, pick, slip, dump it down to the big fella.
13 for Jesse Govan. 54-52 Georgetown. Around the horn. The stumble by Simon. It's a travel.
Well, the ability to put it on the deck, we've said, is so extraordinary, but the finish to hang and deliver amongst the bigs. But Jesse coming big. Either hand, we saw the one early with the left, second counter.
Malinowski working hard to get free and lost his footing. Turnover.
Look at the numbers, 4 on 2.
Heron gives it up. Pons corner pop. Got it for 3.
Devastating, Bird. Devastating.
22 for Pons, and Malinowski is slow getting up.
I think that's from a residual impact. Remember, he fell on the drive.
You know, when he split defenders earlier on the offensive end, he came up limping just a bit, but shook it off to take the free throws.
Right.
And now walking gingerly, he just waved off Ewing. Ewing wanted to maybe make a change. He did the splits.
Well, you're big on the dance moves. Probably some perspiration down there.
Yeah, he just slipped. And Malinowski is on his feet and ready on the offensive end with Jagan Mosley now in for Georgetown.
Nice job getting it in.
The back end. Govan. Oh, LeBlanc came flying in, trying to save it off the ricochet. St. John's has got it.
Well, he's doing a nice job on the weak side, LeBlanc.
Georgetown fans were looking for a call. St. John's up by 1. Trimble nearly a travel.
He did.
Pons spins it up. No. Rebounded by Mosley.
See that open middle? Devastating. Tough to defend all these bounce guys.
Malinowski gets rid of it. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
Got LeBlanc now. Let's see how they handle it.
LeBlanc, the back end. The steal, but is that ball inbounds? It is. Georgetown goes back to get it from Simon.
Exactly what you said earlier that Patrick told us. Jump in the passing lane.
Out front, Malinowski. Georgetown down by 1.
They got what they want. And they got the offensive down deep.
It'll be Simon trying to defend Govan.
Simon says, "Give me some help." Pretty good effort and stayed in right on top of it.
Third foul on Simon. Clark in, Figueroa in, Heron and Simon will sit. 12-12 mark, second half. Georgetown trying to turn the corner as a program. Govan dreams it.
Little spin out. Love that little preparation Patrick had on the inbounds.
The Hoyas are 11-3. They were 11-3 last year at this point in the season, but they went 4-12 the rest of the way. They are better equipped for Big East play this season.
They are different this year. So much so.
Pons, the drive, can't slip it in.
Govan a factor.
Govan hands it to Blair. Mosley feeds the post. LeBlanc. Oh, he gets hit hard. And LeBlanc is on his back. He's going to need a moment.
I think it's an honest play, though. Just aggressive.
Up towards the rim. No Trey Mourning today, so they're missing his size. 6'9", 220. Of course, his dad, Alonzo, a Georgetown legend. Mourning considers Patrick Ewing family. In fact, in his phone.
Ball fake.
Oh, inside, Govan!
Oh, the Globies in town. A little fake handoff. You talk about football.
Harvey Aridin had the story in the New York Times today on Trey Mourning. Trey has Patrick Ewing in his phone as Uncle Patrick. Figueroa misses from long range. That's a relationship that goes all the way back. Mourning was considering transferring, but stayed on with Ewing taking over the head coaching role. He missed all of last season with a hip injury.
Nice pass. Look at this. They really are paying attention to Patrick.
LeBlanc gets the deuce and one.
How about that high-low? 6'11" to 6'9". You bet LeBlanc. A little duck in. How about this? The long arm of the law. Woo.
And the foul on Williams.
Who's flexing those muscles? A couple of more years, they'll be bigger. At least that's what they promised me.
60-55 Georgetown. LeBlanc. Free throws have been a problem. We went 2 of 9 the other night in the victory over Butler.
Only
the
around
team
60.
went 18 of 32, Bill.
Only 61%, Bert.
Georgetown up by 5. Clark rims out on a 3. They've gone more than 2.5 minutes without a point. And St. John's is down by 5.
They were trying to go direct. Go side to side, then let him duck in, Govan. There he is.
He looked that way. LeBlanc, ball fake, loops it. Malinowski, deep 3. Got it.
Woo! How about that? That's all because they're concerned about the big fellas.
It's a 9-0 Hoyas run. 63-55 Georgetown. Clark over Govan. No.
Settling.
Rebounded. Malinowski. It was the same team, and Georgetown could not secure it.
You see, it's a little different without Pons on the floor.
Pons is waiting to check in. We approach the halfway point, second half. There's Simon.
That's that little post-up they like to get. Simon able to take guy off the bounce, but the ability to do some damage down below has been devastating. Even the body movement, getting people deep for offensive rebound or the kick out 3.
Pons back in. 10:04 mark. And Caleb Johnson sees his first action of the second half for Georgetown.
Well, this will be the real test. They settle again. They're really looking out deep.
Clark got a 3.
Now, Pons on the floor, he has to be very intelligent about his approach. Find people and occasionally bite them with the deep 3 or the bounce.
8 points for Marvin Clark the second. Back in by Govan. Kicked. Mosley a 3. Bottom.
All because you get it inside, get the touch, collapse the D.
First points of the day for Jagan Mosley out of Marlboro, New Jersey. St. Anthony's product.
And Clark's going to screen and move the big guy as often as he can.
Clark, he takes Govan all the way out.
He got steps.
It is a tie-up. Possession arrow to St. John's.
Interesting game here. Both ends of the floor. One's got a dribble drive to create inside play. Great collective play. Malinowski, known as a deep shooter. Pretty good help there. Collaboration.
Chris Mullen has sent L.J. Figueroa back into the game. He replaces Greg Williams Jr.
Now, there's a little more size, too, in a matchup.
Foul called. It's Johnson against Herron.
Little nickel dimer. Caleb with the reach in.
Second personal. And the 6th team foul against Georgetown. St. John's will be at Villanova next on Tuesday night as the Big East schedule continues.
So competitive this year.
Pons makes his move. Shot clock down to 12.
This is what they like to get out a good reach in.
And now the fouls are piling up. Free throws, 1 and 1 for St. John's. 7th team foul against Georgetown.
He can't beat you when he's facing the other way. At least that's what I learned as a youngster. Just be patient defensively. Don't reach in.
Second personal on Jagan Mosley. And Pons back to the stripe.
It'll be interesting to see how he handles this last 9 minutes, because he's starting to adjust to that mentality of getting everybody else involved.
He's got 23 points. St. John's is 25-9 when Pond scores 20 or more. And Pons drains a pair.
They don't go away. I mean, this is a St. John's team that hangs tough. They believe in themselves. And keep going inside now if you're Georgetown, either with the touch and the kick out, or there's the lock. Now go the other way with it.
They're making their threes, 4 of 6 in the second half. Tried to get it to Govan, could not.
See, they stayed on the one side. You got to get him side to side too. The timing's off here.
Mosley, look to the interior. Blair, that's a deep one.
That's all because of poor timing.
And rebounded by Clark.
And Govan on a string, ball going opposite the way here he is.
Pons to the corner. Simon drills it. It's a long two-pointer.
And that's Pons. I mean, he's doing a much better job giving the ball up, doing what's necessary.
As mentioned, St. John's did beat Georgetown in the Big East tournament 88-77. So there is some experience to draw from in this matchup. A foul is called.
Herron with that. He just got there late.
And that's number 3 on Herron.
How about this little ability to find people making better decisions, getting clean looks? And that's all because they got the open middle as well. Govan on a string as well on the other end.
LeBlanc and Akinjo back in. Caleb Johnson, 71% shooter.
Govan got a nice little move here by Patrick. They Govan some time off for the TV timeout.
Rebound to Clark, empty possession for Georgetown, 66-62 Hoyas. Clark one-on-one with Johnson.
There's that little turnout, the pin down. Oh, he fouled, I thought. He got away with it.
Pons gets the roll. It's a 2-point game.
Pretty good defense by Mosley, who's excellent at picking up charges.
Shamori Pons, natural scorer. He's got 26 points. Georgetown holding on to a 2-point advantage. Akinjo leaves it for LeBlanc.
Automatic switching can be complex. Without Govan, it's not a go-to guy unless it's LeBlanc on the box.
Akinjo draws the foul. With our shot clock winding down.
Clark with the body, Bird.
We'll step aside. 7:32 to play. A tight one in DC.
That's the way you feel sitting next to me.
I've been doing it for a while. Georgetown has not scored on the break. St. John's 13-0 in transition, so something that Chris Mullen may look to over this final 7 minutes and change. Akinjo with a second free throw coming. Very poised and confident. Doesn't back down from a physical challenge, even at 6 foot 180.
And he's going to have a challenge, too. He's not matched up this time. Let's see, he's on Figaro.
Pons leaves it. Corner. Herron.
Tell you what.
Nails it. It's a 3.
If you're scouting this club, you must contain your own guy because the weak side sort of collapses to help, and they just find and drill it.
8 points for Mustafa Herron. Now it's a 9-2 St. John's run. Georgetown spreads it.
Govan coming in. It's almost a waste of a minute for him, though.
Akinjo cans a triple.
That helps.
12 points for the freshman James Akinjo. 71-67. Hoyas. Pons. Kick. Herron doesn't take the 3 this time. Gets it back. Herron way off. It hit off the side of the backboard.
Could have given it up a little bit.
Georgetown up by 4, 6.5 remaining. Govan will check in next whistle.
Got to be the guards. No Govan. A little reach in. Hurt. Clark. Number 4.
It is. 4th for Marvin Clark, the 2nd.
Contain should be the first thing on the board. The ability to make shots, whether it's the kick-out variety, is he can blow by you, and sort of reminiscent of St. John's, the way they do, get in the lane and find somebody.
So Clark will sit. He's replaced by Keita. Govan is back in for Georgetown. And more free throws for Akinjo.
79, you love your guards. You can make that.
7 of 7 from the line. He's been a catalyst for Georgetown, and the trust that Patrick Ewing has in him as a freshman. He knew he was getting an impact player.
Nice pieces he's got, no question. This program on the rise.
Riding a 4-game winning streak. Georgetown trying to make it 5 in a row. Simon drives, and he slips it in with a finger roll.
How about that? Avoiding just a little bump by Keita.
8 points for Justin Simon, the Temecula, California native. 73-69 Georgetown. Akinjo doesn't take the 3. Govan, ball fake, 2-man game.
Pick and pop when he hit the big guy.
Akinjo swings it.
There you go. You got it to him.
Govan. And a box out there by Heron. St. John's on the move. Tip ball. And it's out of bounds by Blair.
Boy, they go the other way. So explosive in the open floor. But just that little bump. You can see Govan really afraid of the lob to his guy. Doesn't cover adequately.
So many battles through the years between Ewing and Mullen.
All-star games in high school, Pat said, right?
And became great friends after 2 Olympic experiences. That's a Pons 3, and it's been automatic.
You might be seeing an Olympic performance the way he's playing. 29
for Shamori Pons. The Brooklyn native is lighting up the scoreboard at 73-72 Georgetown. 5:20 to go.
They got the mismatch they want.
Akinjo against Keita.
Should be able to offensive rebound if any stepped out of bounds.
He did. Mosley turns it over.
Got to know where you are on the floor.
St. John's takes over. The Red Storm opened the game 0 of 6 from three-point land. Since that point, they've gone 10 of 19 from beyond the stripe.
You get some offense on the floor. Mosley going out, pretty good defender. They give something, but they get something.
Malinowski replaces Mosley.
You'll keep moving, Govan.
Simon spins. Got it!
He is such a good player. He's hidden with some of the other talents on the floor.
Double figures for Justin Simon. He's got 10. 7 rebounds as well. We have our 9th lead change. Largest cushion was 11 for Georgetown. Akinjo is fouled on the outside before the shot.
I think that might be number 3 on Pons, but the ability of moving Govan to the satisfaction. See, trying to block the shot. Really a good job. Ball faking and a little nylon.
And it's Akinjo going to the free throw line. Pons still having a chat after the call. James Akinjo has made a living at the stripe.
How about Mitch Richmond over there, too? You think of Lewis Orr. Guys on this bench with players.
Akinjo is now 9 of 9 at the free throw line. 15 points.
Well, that'll get you home in close games.
Boyes back in front. 75-74 Georgetown.
Appropriate with these two teams with the history.
Simon swings it. Heron, the penetration into no man's land. Ball gets knocked around. Heron saves it, but he was out of bounds.
Before he went up in the air. Good try. Must have been standing on the line when he went up. Govan stayed at home low there. Was a presence on that particular drive.
Jamarco Pickett back in. Patrick Ewing makes the change. He replaces Javon Blair. They get a little more size. So they have Pickett up front, along with LeBlanc and Govan.
And this is what John was saying. Patrick wants him to hit the glass. They got the size now.
Akinjo tried to shake and bake on Pons.
Use him if he's on the floor, Govan.
Govan, give it a go. Pickett lays it in. A beautiful finger roll.
Old-time religion with the step and go.
And a little Iceman George Gervin on the delivery. 77-74 Georgetown. Under 4 minutes to play in D.C.
Nickel dimer. Is that number 4, if I'm not mistaken?
It is. Akinjo.
If you like solid.
Akinjo, his 4th foul. It's sending Pons to the free throw line. St. John's in the bonus, Georgetown in the double bonus with 3:50 on the clock.
I would agree with him, too. I wasn't fond of it either.
30 points for Shamori Pons. Over 1,500 in his St. John's career. 83% shooter. Rings out on a second attempt. 77-75. 4th 30-point game of the season for Pons.
Ride the big guy. He's been making good decisions.
Pickett on a bounce.
Same thing.
Give and go. This time St. John's was ready. Malinowski. The hesitation. It doesn't go. Simon the snatch.
Good job challenging the jumper.
Pons handles it for St. John's. Just over 3 minutes to play. Pons gets to the rim, heaves it up. No, but a foul.
He knows how to body search, too. Boy, Govan on that ball screen, struggling to recover and get back. Puts a lot of pressure on him. Got to really move those puppies.
Second foul on Jesse Govan.
Govan's played well, don't you think?
He has.
He's solid.
Very much under control. Tomorrow, she's the youngest woman ever elected to Congress. Is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez an inspiring insurgent or an ill-informed newcomer? Tomorrow on 60 Minutes. This one's for the tie, Pons. 77 apiece.
Now, both clubs have found out how to score. Now the key is how to stop it. How are they going to handle Govan?
Tenth tie. Akinjo didn't put enough on it.
See, now Georgetown hurt themselves there, not using Govan. And this is the difficulty on this ball screen and penetration. Finding the goal. Look at him split this thing.
The kick, and Figueroa wasn't ready for it. He thought Pons was going to shoot it.
Big thing, too, is Blair stayed at home defensively. You got to cover that corner when they get in the lane.
Clark back in. Figueroa sits. 9th St. John's turnover of the day. 13 for Georgetown. Hoya's trying to regain the lead with 2:48 left, second half.
Look at the size on the floor of Georgetown. It tells you you've got to go inside.
Pickett. They keep it on the perimeter. Akinjo.
There you go. And you got to come with the double if you're St. John's, I think, real quick. Make him space dribble.
7 to shoot. Akinjo small against big. A 3 on the way. Off the back of the iron. Offensive rebound, Pickett.
Boy, they got away with it that time.
Back into the hands of Akinjo. 11th offensive board for Georgetown.
There's the double. Now somebody's got to dive, and you got a kick-out pass if you want it.
Clark playing with 4 fouls. Govan gives up his dribble. Pickett. High arcing. Good!
Rainbow delivery.
Jamarco Pickett from downtown.
Govan with the fine.
80-77. Pons to the rim. Blocked by Pickett. Out of bounds.
Both ends of the floor. Pickett rising for the occasion. This one's wet. Get the towel out. Goodness.
1:57 on the clock. Trigger in for Keita. Now it's Pons. Clark playing with those 4 fouls. Heron looks to drive it, loses the ball with a steal. Mosley comes away with it, gets it ahead for Blair. The flip, no. The tip, yes. Mosley down low with a follow.
Both teams so explosive in the open floor, coming at you with numbers. Georgetown.
82-77, 1:30 to go. Heron takes the baseline and the layup goes.
Containing the bounce so important against this team. So many guys with that option.
Mustafa Heron has cut it to 3 with just over a minute to play.
Little horns look. 1 high, 1 low. Pick and pop using clock.
Mosley.
There's the pick and pop.
7 to shoot. Blair looks down low. The feed. Govan, shot clock winding down. Missed it too strong, but Govan is fouled.
Clark, man. Forced him into a tough shot, and then the giveaway. But this run, you run the floor, you never know if a guy's going to miss it or not. They came with numbers. As you mentioned, Mosley able to finish the deal with terrific use of the rim here, and a great understanding and seal off as well.
Foul was called on Herron. That is his 4th. He's in double figures with 10. And Jesse Govan, the senior, a 78% shooter at the stripe. He is 1 of 2 at the free throw line today.
I love your big guys can step up and nail them. Pretty high number at 78%. I've been impressed with him today. He puts that effort out, sense of urgency. They certainly are a different basketball team.
19 points, 8 rebounds for Govan. 84-79 Georgetown. Under a minute left.
Got to get at least to the foul line somehow if you're St. John's. And attack.
Herron, the spin, and layup goes.
Right at the chest of Jesse Govan.
Aggressive move by Mustafa Herron. It's a 1-possession game.
Use clock, but don't get too late if you're Georgetown. They got a timeout.
There's a 13-second difference. Shot clock to game clock. As we wind down in Washington.
Patrick says this guy just plays hard, attacks. Terrific. So you've got to get into some sort of a flow. And I got to feel you got to get a touch on the box for Jesse Govan and let him make the decision. They've been doubling. And he's found people for his shots or finished himself.
Get it in.
Oh, my God.
Off of a Kinjo. And it's a backcourt violation. Georgetown coughs it up. Out of the timeout.
Oh, this is interesting. Did he have possession? Right.
So they just went to the monitor to make sure they had everything correct on the time. No turnover. Georgetown holds on to it. A trigger in to the freshman Akinjo.
You got to know your personnel now if you're St. John's. Who can shoot it, who can put it on the deck, and how you're going to handle this guy here.
Georgetown up by 3. Shot clock is down to 6.
Nice pass.
By the open man. Pickett misses the jam, but a foul.
Boy, you left early. I think it may have been Clark. He didn't stay honest in that lane. Never covers in the back.
And the foul on Herron from behind. He got him on the right arm. He is done. Herron fouls out with 12 points.
Oh, they did a good job, St. John's, initially, and then left early to cover the shooter and bear the glass.
So that gives Pickett a little more time to think about these free throws. Trying to make it a 2-possession game with 18.6 remaining.
What's interesting here on this double, you can just see the inability to cover the back. They didn't communicate very well. I guess it was Herron who had left early.
Figueroa back in, replacing Herron, who has hit the quota. First time at the free throw line today. Jamarco Pickett. He is a 62% shooter.
There's an old John Chaney trade here where they take everybody off the line. The concern if he does miss the second one is they can push the ball up quicker and nobody to really stuff it out. Of course, a lot of coaches are afraid you might go over the back too and give them an opportunity at the free throw line.
They're putting nobody.
That's what I meant, yeah. So if it is a long miss and the guard gets it, they can really speed dribble.
He makes the free throw, so it doesn't matter. They were conceding the rebound. 85-81. 16 seconds left. Pons drives to the rim. The flip, no, but a foul.
Oh, he is so sharp and smart. I mean, you've got to make him turn at least once on this dribble drive. Make it get over in here. So he's got to turn, use some clock, and you don't bump him either.
Foul called against Mosley. 2 free throws here for Shamori Pons. His team is down by 4. 15.2 on the clock.
Because making him is key in terms of setting up your full court pressure.
32 points. He's 6 of 8 from the line. Gets the roll on the first attempt.
St. John's does extend the floor on occasion. They do a 1-3, 1-3/4. I look for them to go full and get after people. Another handler and a guy who can make free throws.
Malinowski and a Kinjo return.
Got to look for the steal and the giveaway.
85-83 Georgetown. They try to trap. Blair loses the ball.
Intentional almost the way he pulled. They're going to call it.
The shot won't count, but a foul was called with 11.3.
John Gaffney had the call right away. And then he tries to power through, gives it up, and then the giveaway right there.
So the foul on Blair, bucket doesn't count for Figueroa.
Well, being ready, a tough place to catch it, to power through.
But Figueroa does not shoot free throws at a high rate. 57%, 1 of 2 today. St. John's is down by 2. 11.3 to play. 1-point game.
Be interesting to see what St. John's does now. I would play straight up man if he makes this. Try and force them to use some clock. Conversely, get it in the hands of a speed demon in the backcourt if you're Georgetown.
We are tied at 85. Timeout with 11.3 left on the clock. St. John's has come back.
Keep him from getting the basketball if you're St. John's or Blair, because they're the speed demons.
Malinowski, the trigger man. Blair, Akinjo, Pickett, and Govan, the 5 on the floor. Into the hands of Akinjo. 8 seconds left. Tie game. Akinjo, the dribble. Lost it. Goes back to get it. Saves it for Blair. 1 second. A toss is no good. At the buzzer. That would have counted.
A mishandle cost them an opportunity to get a clean look and run some offense.
Overtime this year. Georgetown has played 2 overtime games. Both were victories.
Don't go away from what you do. And at Georgetown, let Jesse Govan be the decision maker for this team.
And Georgetown controls the tip.
On the other end, obviously, Pons, the choreographer.
Mustafa Heron fouled out, not available for St. John's.
I mean, back screen and Keita gets back. Look at this play by Pons. What a read. Give it up.
Justin Simon lobs it up. Slam down. A special delivery to Figueroa.
I thought he made the mistake of not giving it up early enough, but a counter with the lob.
87-85 St. John's. 11 lead changes. 15-0 Red Storm in fast break points.
All off of the defense. Great steal. Open floor opportunity.
Akinjo. Switch. Clark's playing with 4 fouls. Oh, he faked him. Akinjo the flip. No. An ankle breaker. And Akinjo's going to the free throw line.
And what I didn't like that was Govan was out at the rim, but this is just an inadvertent mistake here. And Simon decides late to go for the lob. Had that little angle. Boy, athleticism.
And Billy, that's the 4th foul on Justin Simon. And Akinjo, some nervous moments. He is now 10 of 11 at the line.
This kid is tough, though, but you're right. Being in these situations, everything hinges on the outcome of the game.
He splits a pair, 1-point game. 17 for Akinjo.
The weave to a ball, so there's the back screen line.
Oh, high flyer! Justin Simon!
What a screen by Keita, though.
89-86 St. John's.
They just spread your defense with that open middle.
Malinowski one-on-one with Keita. It's Pickett. Too strong on a 3. Last touch by LeBlanc.
Just really a nicely designed play by Chris. That little back screen. Of course, the rest of it rather easy. For guys this talented, Figueroa with the touch, feel the impact at the tin.
So it's Figueroa on the receiving end on the first one, and then he's the one tossing the alley-oop on the second here in overtime. Clark looks down low. Pons is asking for it. Pons against Akinjo.
Govan over helping right here. He's got to be careful. He's going to open up a look.
Clark,
and he does.
He's got it for three. Timeout Georgetown. St. John's trying to pull away.
Jesse caught in Never Land. In a defensive spot, he just can't. They got the size this time to dominate either on a post-up or on the glass.
This is the largest lead of the day for St. John's, 6.
Little horns look, they cross side.
Lob it up, slap away. St. John's converges on Pickett.
That's one of those plays, it's designed. If it's not there, you don't throw the ball.
Govan committed, and the Red Storm were ready. 92-86, St. John's.
Open middle again.
Pons.
That's all because they moved Govan. Boy, great execution. And a guy who can put you to sleep quickly.
No resistance. And Pons extends the lead to 8. 36 for Shamori Pons. Georgetown just surging right now. Pickett can't hit the 3. Malinowski couldn't grab it. LeBlanc does.
Corner jumper if they look.
They get a reload. Govan counted it.
4 points.
Chance for 4. Woo!
Got to get it to the big guy. Akinjo took a little bit of time, but finally, get those puppies organized, Jesse. Pound you in, and once in a while can massage you out. And that's it, huh? The limit?
That's it for Marvin Clark, the second. That's his 5th. 8 points for Clark. And St. John's lead is down to 5. Govan can tack on another here. 2:28 to play in overtime.
Jesse has been impressive. Neither team really able to close the deal. And it's part of the learning process. Youth on one side, I should say, in Georgetown. Of course, Jesse's been around.
C.D. Keita in, replacing Clark. 22 points for Govan. He is 3 of 4 at the line. Gets the roll.
Well, they'll probably ball screen with Keita. If I were Govan, I would not come out. I'd go under the ball screen, which is a danger, obviously, with the way that St. John shoots the ball.
Georgetown pressures. They extend out. Simon handles it.
So it makes them tough. All of them.
We approach 2 minutes to play in OT.
A little bit of a delay getting organized on this trip. Sometimes that spells doom. They're going to have to settle now.
Shot clock down to 4. Simon penetrates, in trouble, gets rid of it. Jumper on the way. It's a shot clock violation. Trimble was late.
Oh, you could feel it, couldn't you? Feel it coming. Not getting into it. All about a learning experience. Not understanding time and getting stuck deep.
It is the 11th St. John's turnover of the day. Georgetown with the ball, down by 4.
Checking on the clock again.
Currently 1:58 to play.
You know, if you're a player and you get stuck like that after the game, you say, hey, you give it to me with 1 second. What am I going to do with it? Yeah, they got it organized about the violation. They're ready to go.
We'll get a substitution as Patrick Ewing will make a change. LeBlanc in, Johnson to the bench.
They should go high-low, I think, with LeBlanc and Govan. Let's see if they can get something on a dump down or Pickett. Is it staggered double?
Govan a 3. Air ball. And again, St. John's will take its time. Did not get a shot up in the last possession.
And Chris told us, too, like, if he wants to take that shot, you know, we'll worry about him inside.
Yep. Pons rocking the baby to sleep against Akinjo.
He loves that little dribble. Oh, what a tough shot.
Fade away. Bank shot, no.
Numbers.
Quick hitter. Akinjo. Oh,
Watch this.
Figueroa lob and upstairs for the jam. Simon says dunk. Woo!
Simon says maybe over.
96-90. Huge sequence in favor of St. John's. Govan a force. They save it. LeBlanc the effort, and he's fouled in three-point territory. Whew. Govan is going to the line.
Look at this play by one of the premier players in the country. This is what it ends up doing. A little egg on the brow. Three, get organized. Make the three. Plenty of time left for Georgetown. Keita was right there. I'm not so sure he touched him, but
rims out on the first attempt. Govan. 6-point game with 57.5 to play. He's now 4 of 6 at the line. He's shown steady improvement through his 4 years with the program.
Thought about leaving, right?
Yep. Last year.
And as you used to some of the NBA games, you know, with the ability to shoot outside, you never know. I just think he's got to show a little more energy, push, drive. You got a stroke like his. It's a valuable commodity.
Trying to cut it to 4 with 57.5 left.
Get their pressure set up a little bit now. Pretty good defender and Mosley on the floor.
And Chris Mullen will take a timeout. 57.5 on the clock.
And Georgetown has a 1-2-2 that they...
This year's team is different.
A lot of character, no question. And here's that full court pressure. A lot of red shirts up here. I would eliminate, they do eliminate a few. Figueroa going deep. You got to run to the ball. Forget about being strong. You got to cut properly.
They just get it in. Pons ahead. Figueroa cross court for Trimble. And now they'll just try to play some keep away. 45 seconds left.
Oh, tough handoff there on the sideline. Giveaway, Malinowski, I think.
That's a lot of time that you let off the clock if the foul was the ultimate result anyway. Malinowski picks up his third. 2 free throws here. Simon shoots it at 62%.
There's so many guys that can hurt you, St. John's. That's can't concentrate. You got to really know the scouting report when you play that.
He is 0 of 2 today at the line. 14 points, 9 rebounds for the junior.
Funny push shot, too.
Misses on a pair. The door is open for Georgetown. 96-92.
Govan's got to run down the floor. He's out at the...
The spin, no, Akinjo. Whoa, what a rebound, LeBlanc. Malinowski can't get the 3. Govan's got the board. Another opportunity for Georgetown. Down to 25
nice
seconds
hands.
left. Malinowski gets fouled.
They're going to give it to Simon, but it was like a bang-banger. He made a great play getting to the passing lane, but at the end, his body hit Malinowski. Now just watch this play by him. The hands, and now just the collision, inadvertent as it is.
But that's it for Simon. 5th foul. And a lot of flexibility.
Unbelievable without getting hurt. And Jesse Govan just was in the backcourt almost. He's got to get down the floor underneath the rim to be a factor. Got there late.
Simon fouls out. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. And Greg Malinowski at the free throw line, an 86% shooter.
Well,
they got to make a change here. It's going to be Greg Williams.
Very small on the floor right now. St. John's, that is.
Malinowski is just 2 of 4 today.
And you can see Keita has really helped them too. Chris was saying we got to get him in the game a little bit more. I mean, not the impact in the scoring sheet, but screening and guarding.
It's a 3-point game. 25 points to play.
Get your pressure set up if he makes this.
Jagan Mosley back in for Georgetown. Akinjo sits with those 4 fouls.
And a lot of tough matchups for Georgetown if they end up on the other end, because there's a lot of small guys that can handle.
St. John's up by 2, 25.2 left.
Pons with a step through, and they'll give it away.
The foul is called with 23.1. So once St. John's got it in clean, Georgetown made the decision. And it's Mosley, his 4th. Pons is an outstanding free throw shooter. You're taking your chances there. We're trying to extend this game. 36 points. He is 8 of 10 today at the line.
So I think Georgetown may have to. They are subbing. They got to go a little smaller, I think, now, just for the speed of the game.
Oh, it rims out.
They got to Akinjo in.
Pons trying to shake it off. (97-94) St. John's. Timeout Georgetown.
It'll be interesting now
23 seconds left, Billy.
what St. John's does defensively.
And it's been a while.
It sure has, because now they're extending the floor a bit. Blair on the floor along with Akinjo. You got some speed and handle.
Malinowski gets it into Akinjo. 3-point game, 18 seconds to play in overtime. A switch.
Force him as late as you can if you're St. John's. Then you got to make a decision under 6 or 5 seconds whether you want to foul him if he's going to take it.
The fake, Akinjo throws it up. No, caught by Malinowski. Blair for the tie. Off the rim, and that's it. A gritty Big East win for St. John's. They hold on in overtime. 97-90.